And the same, as I said, has been propagated by N.J. Coulson, again famous authority on Orientalism. And he said there is no concept of obligatory ita'ah, and there is no concept of the sunnah in this matter. There is no concept of sunnah of the Holy Prophet. Whatever I have explained, I have given you the summaries of all these books, and N.J. Coulson's whole book, whatever he has written, I have summarized his discussions and things. So now we will come to the study of hadith, study of Quran and study of Sunnah. After understanding that this is the whole scenario, that's why the minds were shaken, the faiths were shaken, the knowledge got mixed up. This was a dirt which was introduced through all these so-called research. Whole concepts were confused. So all these findings, beautiful statement has been given by A.J. Arbery. Although he has written, he gave these lectures in 1942, A.J. Arbery, and his lectures primarily were on the history of Sufism. History of Sufism. But fortunately, he criticized those Orientalists and their Orientalistic research and their conclusions, including the conclusion of his own teacher, whom he used to say is Murshid, that was Professor Nicholson, including him. And A.J. Arbery, he concluded beautiful remarks, although he was giving in connection of history of Sufism, but at the same time he was dealing with all other Islamic disciplines. In his third lecture, the final lecture, he says all these theories are developed on the basis of generalizations and similarities and lack of access to the original sources, and they are unable to have any access to the Arabian aspect of Islam. The literature is not available to them. Then he says their theories are quite conflicting with one another, and none of them is based on positive historical fact. They say that they might be, he might be influenced from this person or that person. They say none of them in their books, so many books, has mentioned a single historical event, that where did he meet them, in which meeting did he receive from them, who was the person who influenced him, which was the book which he got something from. And the same thing Mr. Burton, he says none of them, John Burton says, none of them has given a single positive evidence to establish their theories, to establish their allegations, to establish their false accusations. Not a single evidence, except probabilities and similarities and opportunities. So he say that these are non-Islamic sources, influences of non-Islamic sources which are creating, this is A.J. Arbery saying, which have created and formulated all these stories and all these theories. He says it may take another 80 years to Orientalists and to researchers and to the scholars to come to the right conclusion, to the right concept. He said this thing in 1942. He said they might take another 40 years when all literature would become available. Unprinted, unpublished material would be published. They will have direct access of the materials. They will come out of their own narrow-mindedness, and then they will leave to develop their theories and concepts on just probabilities and possibilities. Because of availability of the direct evidence, only then after 80 years, it means 80 years from 1942, he was talking of 2020. He says 2020 would be the proper time when they would reach any clear conclusion about Islam. This is what A.J. Arbery stated at that time. Now, I have picked main 2 or 3 points which we are going to address through Quran and Hadith. One, their main theme is, and which has influenced the minds of our own younger generations, and there are many people. You see the writers, the speakers, the orators, some scholars sometimes, if you speak of anything, they say, just show us in Quran. Give us any Quranic evidence. We don't accept anything else other than Quran. So you might hear these kind of words. Let me explain. Saying these words, that we don't accept anything except Quran, these words are kufr. This is an act of disbelief, that I don't accept anything other than Quran. The reason is that Quran has introduced two authorities, two evidences for mankind. The first evidence for the mankind is Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Qad ja'akum burhanum mir rabbikum wa anzalna ilaykum nuram mubina." The biggest evidence of Allah in the form of Prophet Muhammad and his personality has come to you. He is the biggest evidence of Allah. Burhanum min rabbikum. Wa anzalna ilaykum nuram mubina. And we have revealed the clear light, and that is Quran, unto you. So Quran was never revealed for the mankind if Holy Prophet ﷺ was already not there as a prophet. Quran was not revealed in the air. Quran was not revealed in vacuum. Quran was not revealed in the minds and hearts of the people in general. Quran was not revealed in the hearts of companions or in our hearts. Quran, before Quran was revealed, somebody was chosen from the mankind. Somebody was selected, somebody was chosen. He was upgraded, he was lifted up to the level so that he may become the direct recipients of divine guidance. So that he may become the direct recipients of divine light. He was raised up to that level, somebody was raised up to that level. So that Almighty Allah may talk directly to him or may talk to him through his angel Jibreel. So that Almighty Allah may communicate to him. So that Almighty Allah may make him the possessor of his message, the trustworthy, the reliable possessor of his guidance. So that Almighty Allah may make him his recipient, his real representative and his demonstrator, so that he may speak to the people on his behalf, so that he may communicate his prayer, so that he may transmit his words and meanings, and he may explain my message, Allah's message, with his own words and meanings. So he chose somebody. That's why he said, first of all, the biggest and the most important and significant evidence of Almighty Allah, Burhanun, has come to you in the form of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And second, وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ نُورًا مُبِينًا, and then Quran has come as a light. And second thing Quran says in Ma'idah, Al-Ma'idah, قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ, the same philosophy, قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ نُورٌ وَكِتَابٌ مُبِينٌ. Aimma of Tafsir unanimously say that Noor is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Two things have come to you from Almighty Allah. Almighty Allah has sent to you his Noor, the light, and he is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Kitabun Mubin, and the book who explains you everything. So again, two things. Always mentioning two things. I am giving you a Quranic scheme, a very significant point to be kept in your mind. Wherever Holy Prophet and Quran both are mentioned, just you can start your study from Surah Al-Hamd to Wan-Nas. Wherever Prophet Muhammad and his messenger, Allah's messenger, and Quran, Allah's book, they both are mentioned. Almighty Allah, every place, at every single verse, He mentions Prophet's name first and his book's name afterwards. This is the divine scheme of Almighty Allah of describing them. The reason is very simple. I will come now to the books. This is a preparatory thing, just a foundational thing. You may understand the basic concept. These are the two hujjah, two evidences. Why Holy Prophet's name first and Quran's kitab second? The reason is that Quran is revelation. Quran is a revelation. And no revelation can arrive to the mankind unless there is a recipient before that. There has to be a recipient. Only then Almighty Allah will communicate His divine revelation. Again come to Surah Baqarah. When the kuffar, they doubted in authenticity of the prophethood or genuineness and truthfulness of the prophethood of Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Quran says, "In kuntum fi raibim mimma nazzalna ala abdina." O people, if you doubt the truthfulness of our message or revelation which we have revealed on our beloved servant, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these connected like this, indispensably connected, and Prophet's mentioning is always first. So first thing which has been raised, or the criticism, is they say that Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was never given, or he was never ascribed the status of a lawgiver, so that his sunnah may become compulsory or mandatory. He was never given this status as a legislator, lawgiver, or shari'. You know, he was basically a social reformer, a religious reformer, an arbitrator, and this and that. And all these positions were assumed by himself. First thing. Second, the main their emphasis is that the word sunnah, I mean sunnatul Rasul, Holy Prophet sunnah, they say it was never used by Prophet Muhammad himself in hadith literature or by the companions. Only the word sunnah was used, and the word sunnah was always used in the meanings of common living tradition and custom and practice. It can be an administrative policy of the government. It can be a custom of a tribe, tribal custom. These are the two main things. And there is no concept of sunnah as a source of sharia, or its authoritative or its authenticity as a source of sharia.